Hello and welcome to the masterclass for employers on hiring smarter, faster, and without sponsorship. My name is Matt Hendricks. I'm here in Aguascalientes, Mexico, running the operations for Alcanza. And I have with me Michael Hendricks, actually my brother, all right, attorney, immigration attorney specifically, and founder of the company Alcanza. How are you, Mike, today?
Doing awesome. So excited to get this information out to employers to help them with their HR needs.
That's right. And what we're going to talk about in the next 15 minutes, we'll make it very quick for you, but we're going to talk about how the TN process works, what types of jobs qualify for the TN process, and we'll get you contact information so that you can verify your positions and be able to make those decisions. And then we'll talk about cost and about timing, which are all the important things that you'll need to be able to source, recruit, and employ and onboard people. So this is an exciting process that we have with the TN. I truly believe that it is the best visa in the world. It only qualifies for Canadian and Mexican professionals. So it is not for the whole world, but it is definitely the best visa that exists for professionals to come to the United States and to be able to work in the United States. Now, we do understand completely the types of problems that you're having in the US finding talent. As you guys know, 7 out of 10 companies can't find the talent that they need. There's over 7 million people who are unemployed. As of June of 2025, the unemployment rate is under 5%. So there's not a lot of people to take those jobs. And turnover costs keep getting more and more expensive. And that's what we're here to solve. Right, Mike?
Yeah. So the problem that HR has is that we have skills gaps in the US, right? So we have some people who are willing to take a job, but they just don't have the skills necessary to qualify for that job. And that's really what I think employers are having a problem. And then because the skills are so rare, maybe, then what ends up happening is that person is always looking for the next good position. So then there's a lot of turnover because people are like, well, that company will pay me more. And sometimes don't even ask their employer to, try to equal that amount or compete. So yeah, it's huge issues.
It is. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how we solve some of those issues. We deliver talent, not paperwork. And we're going to get into that a little bit more specifically. And you're going to find out how easy it really is. We're talking about 1 to 2 hours more work than hiring someone in the US under the traditional way that we do that. So it really is not a lot more work, and it actually can be less expensive. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we have pre-vetted professionals, and that means that they are ready to work in the US, and we'll get into that in more detail. We do all the documentation. All we need is your information. And between our team here in Mexico, working with the applicant and working with you, and the attorney review process, we take care of that documentation for you so you don't have to worry about it. And we do end-to-end coordination. And what that means is that from the very time that the applicant starts on our program to the time that they're walking in your door, we're going to take care of all that for you so that you don't have to worry about it. And all for an excellent price, which we're going to talk about as well. Anything you want to add here, Mike?
Yeah, I think HR runs into issues where they're constantly having to field people. So a big part of their job isn't the paperwork that they do; it's the finding and recruiting talent. That's a big portion of the job. The filling out of the I-9 and the employment stuff is actually a small part. The great thing is that this actually may reduce their time. They actually have to work to bring somebody in because we do the identification, we do the recruitment. And then they're just doing an interview at the end in order to determine if that's the person they want to bring in. So, yeah, I think we actually reduce the time overall. And with professionals that are helping with the paperwork and then a final attorney review, you just can't lose in this situation.
That's right. And of course the onboarding is still in your plate, but we take care of what is sourcing, and we take care of talent acquisition, and then we put them in front of you so that you can make decisions. And if it's the person that you want, we make sure that everything is in order so that when they get to you, they're 100% ready to go. They're ready to work that first day when they're there. So let's talk about the value of the TN. There is no lottery in the TN. There is no sponsorship in the TN. There's no legal minefield in the TN. It doesn't involve various agencies. It is a very clean cut process. Now, this is, Michael, this is actually your expertise. So talk to us a little bit about what it means versus like the H-1B, which now costs $100,000, or other international visas that are much more complicated.
Yeah, so it's important because there's a lot of people that will join this masterclass that have never done international recruitment. And so we want to make sure that they understand. So a lottery is, it sounds a little bit different than it is. What it basically means is that they get put into a pool of contestants, right? People that have applied to get a visa like an H-1B. And there are others that aren't lottery based, but we'll talk about those a little bit. And then basically there is a system where this is where it's called the lottery, because just in a very mechanical way, without prejudice, without bias, a blind selection of those who have submitted their applications. They do about 85,000 of those a year. 20,000 are set aside for U.S. graduates, in other words, foreign-born nationals that have graduated, usually under a student visa in the U.S. And then the other 65,000 are open worldwide. The problem is that they have anywhere between 650 and 1 million people apply every year for those visas. So as you can see, there's a 1 in 10 chance, if not less, depending on how you look at it, to actually get the opportunity to then move forward with an H-1B, which is the one that's most closely related to the TN in its form. There's other pieces, no sponsorship. In other words, you don't have to prove that your job is paying what the normal national average is for that job. Now, the government wants to see that what you're paying falls in line. They don't want to reduce the market, the employment market, by letting you hire foreign employees or labor and paying them half the price, right? So it's not like there's no consideration for what you're paying, but you don't have to go through what's called the LCA process, the labor certification, right? Not the permanent, which is for larger, if you want to get a green card for your employee. These are temporary work visas. And then the no legal minefield is just that. So you have hundreds of thousands, 1 million people applying every year, and the paperwork for the H-1B is significant, right? The beginning part used to be a lot more. Now it's just submitting and paying a small fee in order to get into the system. But then once you're in there, you have to do all this paperwork that then provides the government what they need. And then the person can't even start until October 1st, even though the lottery happens on April 1st. So there's all of these delays and these problems, which are the legal minefields that you have to walk through. And just like a minefield, you have to be careful where you step. I've seen people get denied after being picked in the lottery, get denied for their actual H-1B because of a missing signature. So there are these issues that people run into without the proper guidance. And then you have the larger visas, which take even more time, like a green card for extraordinary workers and so on. And those are a whole nother level of legal minefield where, yes, they're getting a more permanent solution, but you have to do a perm process, which is 9 to 12 months. And then you have to do a petition, which is another 12 months unless you do premium processing. And then you have to do the process of either adjustment of status or consular process. So this reduces all that time. No lottery, no sponsorship in the form of you putting your name down saying, I'm sponsoring this person. Your company is still bringing them in, which means you have to provide your company information. But it's a limited amount of information as compared to the normal processes, and a lot faster, a lot quicker, with a lot less implications.
Awesome. And so now we talked a lot about what it's not, what it is. It's a 3-year, it has 3-year validity, usually 3 to 4 years. And the person comes in and it's temporary, but it can be renewed as many times as you want. If you like the person and you want to continue to work with them, you just do renewal of that. We have 30 plus professional categories, and those are the general categories. So when you start branching it out, there's hundreds of different types of positions that they can take, and it has quick approval. We're talking about once you make the decision to hire that person, 5 to 7 weeks, and they can be on a flight beginning to work for your company. It's also family friendly, which I think is very important for a lot of employers. They can bring their spouse, they can bring their children, they can be there as a family unit, be happy, be satisfied, and then come to work and get the job done. So it has an incredible amount of advantages, and it is so fast. Once you make the decision, you can have that person there having an impact on your company very, very quickly. So if you have never done an international hire before, you're going to find that this is a lot equal to in the US, because once you hire someone in the US, you still got to move them to where they're going to go. You still got to get everything set up for them. They still got to get settled in, and they still got to get there. So it's not a lot of difference. And we're not going to go over the specifics here. But Michael, in general, because the H1 is such a popular, or has been, I don't know how much it will be, but it has been a popular international recruitment tool. Give us a quick comparison of these two on how the TN is versus the HB1.
Yeah, the H-1B is it's a much longer process. Most people are capped subject unless you're working for higher education or a government location, nonprofit, or a quasi-government like the labs and stuff like that. So the TN for most employers, and we know that the lifeblood of the U.S. is a small employer, which I think is anything under 200 people. And so that's the majority of the employers in the US, right? So they're going to find this visa much more fulfilling and much faster and much better for what they're trying to achieve. And you had talked about the ability to continuously renew this visa if you like this person. And the great thing about the drawback for H-1B is you can only do that once. So you get a 3-year stint, then you get a second 3-year stint if it's renewed, and then you're capped, which means you've got to leave the country for a year. So you have this great person that works really well. You want to keep them. You won't have any options. So you have to start while they're doing their second H-1B, the renewal, and try to do a green card process to keep them here, which then costs tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes $20,000, $30,000 for the whole process, and the wait time of 3 years. So you may get them before they have to go. You may not get them before their H-1B is completed. Whereas the TN is constantly able to be re-upped, extended, as long as it's the same job, as long as it's in the same employer. They can change employers, but it is more difficult to do that as compared to a local person that's just looking for the next person to hire them. So it's much faster, 5 to 7 weeks from the time of application. I want to be clear about this because some employers kind of get lackadaisical and don't provide the information quickly. If you provide information quickly, the turnaround for application is really fast. But if you delay, it's from the time of application to the time of interview and a decision is usually 5 to 7 weeks.
Thank you for pointing that out. I think that's important.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, you said 5 to 7 weeks, and it ended up being 3 months. And it's like, yes, you didn't provide us your gross income, your net income, or your taxes, and that kind of stuff that you have to provide. So another thing that people need to know about our portal, not just about the visa, is that our portal protects your information. So an employer uploading their data, it's encrypted at rest and in movement. So it's all protected. And the potential employee cannot see that data. So you're not putting information in that then the employee goes in is able to get your information. They can't see that. And for me, that's an important part of the pie, because the people that are putting information, a lot of employers are like, I don't want people to know that. I don't want this new employee to know that I'm paying them $40,000 a year and we did $6 million. And it's like, because some people don't understand that, but we have that protected in our system. And the H-1B, of course, we already talked about the lottery. So you have these benefits. Now, there are negatives, and the biggest negative that I see is that you do have to select people from Canada or Mexico. Now, some people say, oh, that's a negative because most of the people that apply for me apply for this job are from India. That doesn't mean there's not qualified people in Mexico and Canada. It just means that they haven't been given the information necessarily in order to know that they can apply for this. So that's where we come in. We're going out, we're taking action to find these people to bring them to your door so that you're not having to worry about putting it up on LinkedIn and then seeing who applies. We find those people for you, and then we bring them to you and say, hey, we have 3 people for you to interview. Let's go. So there are many benefits to this. The turnaround is so much faster. The cost is so much less. And the repeatability of it is much greater.
So we didn't have this planned, but this whole program is based on the platform that you built as an immigration attorney, which is Alcanza, and it really is the base of what we do because we don't just do this. This is a specialized area that we do here from Mexico for U.S. employers. We work on all types of visas in our platform. So maybe in 1 or 2 minutes, talk about Alcanza as a legal tech company and the platform that provides the basis technology for everything that we're doing around here.
Yeah, so actually, this is not new when it comes to employers, because what we have found is that there are various companies out there that are trying to provide tech solutions for employment, mostly on the higher extraordinary ability, the O1As, the EB1As, and so on. What we did is we created a user friendly, and what I mean by user friendly is it wasn't meant to be made for law firms specifically. It was meant so customers and consumers, whether it be an HR department, whether it be a direct consumer looking to get their own green card through a family member, we made it simplified so that it's easy to walk through for that person. And then we integrated a full AI that then walks people through it. Why this is beneficial? Because Alcanza was built by me. I've been an immigration attorney for years. I've been in immigration for 15 years, been an attorney for most of those. And so what I did is I realized there's not a good system for this. No one has direct access. Everybody has to go through the gatekeepers, including employers. So providing a solution where that is simplified. And so we have expanded. We're very large now all over the country in multiple countries around the world. And we provide not only, direct to consumer products where people can apply, but we also provide the Pro TN, our TN Pro for HR departments and for recruitment. But we also provide a management service opportunity for law firms where we acquire them through a legal structure, and we grow the brand around the country. And then we have our fully capable AI that has its own standalone product as well. For people, for law firms, the HR departments will be able to ask questions. Anything that they have any concerns about, they can ask our AI, whose name is Leo. And it stands for Legal Efficiency Operator, but Leo's better, right? He's the lion. And so he's able to respond to any questions that anybody has. In fact, that's what most of the law firms that use the system now, they primarily use Leo as their backbone. It creates briefs, motions, hardship letters. It can create for employers. It can create your job letter, job offer letters that are compliant with TN. And I'm glad you mentioned the variance in categories because, there are only 30 named categories, but one of those named categories, for example, is engineer. Well, there's a myriad of types of engineers.
That's right.
So we've been able to bring in dairy engineers, mechatronic engineers. So automotive engineering and mechanical and electrical and so industrial, aeronautical. We have people in the pipeline for every one of these, and we've been able to go ahead and process a few of them. So some of these people are highly specialized. We have a guy as an automotive in our pool of people, automotive engineers, specifically in paint, that has over 30 years of experience working in Nissan and Mercedes and all these different large corporations that have offices in Mexico and ready to move to the US to bring his talents here. So, I mean, we can find people that are ready to go do and just plan up a retaining wall if he needs to, right? Draw it up and actually help put it up, to people who are going to work as high level, executives in corporations because they have the skills necessary that you just can't find here.
Right. Managers, directors, quality, because the U.S. has moved so many operations the last 30 years to Mexico, you really get highly qualified people who are thirsty to go to the U.S. And we're going to talk about them in a minute, but they are ready. And we are preparing them for the adjustments that there'll be so that when they come, they're ready to work. So we combine this legal tech capability with recruiting power because we're here on the ground. I'm actually in Mexico with a team of people that work on sourcing, recruiting, and finding the right people. And we actually charge them money for their preparation. So these people are already paying. They're so ready to get to the US and to begin to work. They're paying for the preparation, which they need, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that. And they are ready to work in the United States. So they have self-funded their preparation. We everybody in the world uses the CV, as you guys know, but in the United States, we use the resume. So we work through a course to help them build up their CV to resume so they understand the differences, not just do it for them. And then they submit a resume. We help them maximize the results of that so that they're ready in the US. We work on their English so that no matter where they're at, they're able to come in and communicate and be able to be a professional in the United States, and also the cultural. And so they're prepared for interviews. They're prepared for the cultural differences and what to expect once they get there. And they're actually in our program because they're paying to be in our program, which makes them extremely committed to the process.
And I want to just mention cultural onboarding. I think some people don't think about this, right? Everybody thinks about language, and it's like you'll find that most professionals in Mexico and of course in Canada, they do speak English. They speak it conversationally. Some of them speak it fluently. That's just part of the programs that they put on now. From the time that you're in first grade, they start teaching you English in Mexico. So English is not actually the biggest problem that people have, and we still help them to become more competent. But the cultural part is the problem. So most people don't know this, but the average work week in Mexico is 6 days, not 5. There's a different timing for breaks and lunches and the timings for those things and how you collaborate with coworkers. I mean, there is a major cultural difference, and helping them to overcome that barrier before they even get here makes you as an HR department, your job goes much more smoothly. You have much more capable people who are ready to hit the ground running and ready to start working rather than trying to get over hurdles for the next few weeks or few months while they're just learning how to collaborate with people around them.
That's right. And so what do we do for you? We have a free role evaluation. So we have to verify that your role, the position that you're looking for, qualifies for the TN. So we need to do a call. We need to look that up, and we need to get you your answer so that you know that what you're looking for qualifies. And then we're going to, once you know that and you want to move forward, we're going to get some information from you so that we can build out your profile in our own and I've forgotten the word in
Job
English.
board.
Job board. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will take all the candidates that qualify for that. And at the beginning, we'll just send them over to you. And then we'll start recruiting for those, for people similar to that position so that you can begin the interview and selection process. Once you made the decision, you sign, do an offer letter. Now the official offer letter does have to be TN compatible, but the initial one can be just a simple, the one that you always use, an offer letter that gives them the information that they need to make a decision. Once they decided, that's when you pay. Never pay before that. What I'm saying is it's free. All right. You are not going to pay anything until you have offered the job and they have accepted the job. And then we'll work with you on the information that we need from the company to do the process for the TN, and we'll need the official offer letter, which will be used for the TN process. And that is it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it couldn't be, but that is it. So it doesn't change a lot from what you do. And it costs $3,000. That's when you pay $3,000. Now, what that includes the government fees. That includes the attorney reviews. That includes the person who works with you to make sure that everything is set up. That includes their flight to the US. So you don't have to worry about those things. They're already taken care of inside of that price. All right. So if you're looking for someone, that the premium full TN service is the way to go. If you've already identified, if you're here today, you already identified someone in Mexico and you just don't know how to get the process done, that price is $25.30, and we do everything else. That one includes everything but the government fees. All right. And the flight. All right. So we don't do the whole coordination of that because you've already identified your person, but we take care of all the rest. And then there's going to be some that are watching this that need a transfer or need a renewal. Those are also available because we first are an immigration legal tech company. So we do all kinds of visas. This is just one section of the visas that we do. So we could take care of anything inside the TN process. Anything you want to add to this, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I think that's really good. The fact is that we're well under what other people are charging for similar processing. And so I saw some larger processes, the O1As and EB1As the other day. They're anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000. So $29.95 is really good, especially when it includes the government fees and it includes a flight. And so the other portion of it, as far as recruiting and all of that. But then if you go down to where you're just wanting to extend or transfer, these are some that we do all the time where people hear about the program and are like, hey, I need help. I don't know how to do this, but you don't want to go pay an attorney $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to just transfer or extend your TN visa. So this is a really good option, and it has the TD as well, which is the family members that are involved. So there's a very good option for people who are just needing to extend their TNs, transfer their TNs. But the best opportunity for employers is when they can't find people and they need the talent that they can't find, all the way from, beginning talent of I'm an engineer that's only been doing this for 2 years and this is what I do. And I've been working for GM and now I'm ready to move forward and do something greater or more in the US, all the way to people that, hey, I've already got a job here. I've already been working here, all the way down to just extending or transferring.
Yeah, that's right. So what are the next steps, right? The next step is simply just to book your TN evaluation for your role. We'll schedule a consultation call. We'll walk through it. We'll verify that the role or the position is available through the TN. And once we do that, you'll be connected with, and you want to move forward, right? You'll be connected with someone on our team who will get your information, usually what you have on LinkedIn, and use that information to create your profile for the company. And then you'll send the positions that you want us to recruit for here. Once we have that, within a few days, we're going to get you back a packet with people who are available now so that you can interview them. And then we can continue to recruit and look for people that fill in the blanks for the talent that you're looking for. And it is really that easy. We'll start working. Once we find the people, we'll get you set up for interviews. After those interviews, if you make a decision on a person, then that's when you pay. And then we immediately start the process with you and them to make sure that they get a scheduled consult in the consulate, I guess. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah.
With the consulate?
So
okay.
Consulate or embassy.
Or embassy, so that they get approved and then they can get back to you as quickly as possible.
And I want to clear something up here. Number one, the reason you don't pay before all of this is because we've very rarely, but sometimes we have it where somebody has such a specialized job and we recruit, and within a couple of months, we can't find someone to fill that position. So we want to be clear. This is not like we can find anybody anytime, anywhere, but we're usually able to fill in the gaps. And then the other thing is we're specialists in getting people ready for the consular interview, making sure that they know what to say, when to say, which is information that comes from you as well, of what is the company? What does the company do? What is going to be their role in the company? What exactly does that role mean? But also in the offer letter, making sure that, for instance, you're bringing in a mechatronics engineer who does coding and sets up lines for manufacturing. Well, they can't put mechatronics engineer as their job. They just have to put engineer, because the government will actually deny somebody. I just saw it the other day with somebody who filled out something without us and came to me for help afterwards. And they had denied him because they had put on there that they're literally, this is the title, mechatronic engineer. And the denial said, there's no category for mechatronic engineer. First of all, that's dumb, right? It's an engineer, but that's how nitpicky they can get just in the interview. So being able to be specialist and having the specialist ability to train people for what they need to say, how they need to say it, what information they need to have, and making sure all the documents are compliant and up to date. Those are huge benefits you get with us that other people that say, I will recruit for you, they don't know any of that, right? They're not specialist attorneys and specialists that have done these over and over and over again that can all but guarantee an approval as long as we get the information and documentation we need.
That's right. Thank you. And great example. So that ends the masterclass for today. I want to thank you for taking the time. It was good meeting you. Remember, we want to come on this journey with you. We want to help you set up this strategy so that it works for you, works for your business, and you can actually start looking from a whole new pool of talent and we are here to come alongside and help that happen. So look us up. Right below, you'll have the information to be able to contact us for a consultation call, and we'll get you started on that process. It has been enjoyable to be here with you guys. Mike, as always, enjoyable to be with you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just remember that original consultation call will not take very long. So I know that HR departments are busy. Know that that'll be a very quick. We value time, our time and your time, and we want to make sure that we get the information that we need to move forward as quickly as possible for you, because we know time is money. So stop competing for the same limited talent pool and start hiring the right one and from the new one.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thank you.